Meeting is now streaming live to YouTube. Hey, welcome everybody to Feedback Fridays, Friday, November 10th. And I got a lot of questions to go through from you guys over the last week. So I'm excited to get into some of that. Again, we're going to be taking questions live too. So if you tune in live, that's great. You can also just ask those same questions in the replay. I have a couple from that exact process, that is after, right? You tune in because you're not able to see it live for the replay, and then ask some questions. So I got them pulled up on my screen, and we're just going to dive into a couple of them here right now, going into the comments section. And the first one is from 2 days ago from Sell My House Fast LV, which I imagine probably stands for Las Vegas. So I'm going to read that right now, but I'd like to also share my screen. So I'm going to do that so you can see the question as well. And then we'll go from there. Cool. So if you want to take a look, right, not there, but here, you'll see the question. If no one can hear the other end, it's not real great. Just saying, that's why I didn't smash the like button. I appreciate your effort, and that's just my point of view. Keep going. I just found you guys today and watched a couple videos. I use REI Reply, and I have no idea Creative was so completely different. So same damn, or wait, oh, Creative was a completely different company. Same damn logo. Gotcha. Yeah, REI Reply and Creative REI Reply is the same logo. As far as novations, yeah, we had a problem with the microphone for Brad as he was on those types of calls. And interestingly enough, though, just so you guys know, I totally understand. You're right. You know, it's your point of view, and frankly, it's mine too. But we found somebody who saw that video, they learned from it, and then we're doing deals with them. So it's pretty cool that it was like, even though we didn't hear the seller on the other end, the value is obviously in that, but the value is also in the way in which you're pitching novations. So for novations, like, just to understand that more, or if you're trying to really learn more about novations, we are going to be posting a couple videos that are replays of some of the trainings we've had internally about novations and pitching novations. So creative is always important. Novation is just one tool in the tool belt that you should definitely understand and know. Leave a drop in the comment if you guys have actually done it or tried to do it, or if you have any questions about novations themselves, because it can be a big topic. The one thing that I'll say right now that I hope will benefit some of you watching is that a novation, you can do it two ways. You can either put work into the property, or you can just do it as is. And I would recommend the latter, because, you know, in the unlikely scenario, but the possible scenario that you put, 20K into a property or more, and then the seller doesn't really want to sell anymore after that, because you're like, man, I love what you did with the kitchen. Like, I just want to stay here. Your only recourse is to put like some sort of mechanics lien on the property to eventually get paid maybe 3 years, 20 years later when they actually want to sell. So just safeguard yourself, protect yourself against that situation, and do an as is. So that's something that, if you guys didn't know, novation is just simply defined this way. Novate means to take the place of. And if you're going to be novating, then what you do is, instead of wholesaling as an assignment to a cash buyer, it opens up the opportunity for you to basically wholesale to somebody with any sort of financing. Okay. So that's really what the benefit of it is. So if you've never done it before and you have questions, I'll take your questions live and also drop them in the comment section, and we'll take them later, possibly next Feedback Friday. So appreciate that piece of input. Sell My House Fast Las Vegas that you had. And it looks like Jeremy, that was Jeremy. So that's Jeremy right there. And that was the feedback that he had. And in fact, what I'm going to do is, as I like to always, is I'm just going to share this live link. And I'm going to tell you, Jeremy, that I was responding to your question live, addressing your comment live. And for everybody who's here, feel free to interact live, and heck, if you want to come on, this is a Zoom, so like, if you have a list of questions that you want to go over, I'll be answering those live as well. And if you're not camera shy, you can pop on. All right, next question is, what templates are you using now or able to share? Just signed up with Launch Control. This is a loaded question. So this is coming from Albert Martinez, which I really appreciate. I'm going to say addressing your question live now. And it doesn't really matter, but it helps when you spell that right. So the video that that's referring to is just a walkthrough of the templates that we create, how to create templates, and we give samples of those templates away for free. The challenge has now recently come about that we had about 50 or more templates inside of our Launch Control account, and Launch Control just deleted them because TCPA regulations have changed and the carrier restrictions have gotten more strict and more stringent as it pertains to SMS marketing. So that's a very timely question, and it's very beneficial for anybody who is looking to do SMS marketing. Now, where I see the trend of SMS marketing going is a little bit different than my business partner, Chris. I was just talking to Chris yesterday, and he said SMS marketing is going to be completely dead. Now, I do sort of agree, but here's the caveat that I have to that. The restrictions come about because of abuse from a system. And I did a video a long time ago about this where I said, like, this as a low cost and efficient and easy way to get started in real estate investing for marketing purposes is going to go away. It's currently at that time a year ago being threatened by people who are abusing it, even unknowingly. And what do I mean by that? Platforms that have gone out of business, by the way, that I won't mention, really big platforms, they were allowing their users to abuse it, so they didn't know any different. And that is like one click button to send thousands of messages with, whatever cap it was, but thousands at a time, that flagged a bunch of messages as spam all at once, which just continues to be the issue because the whole point of TCPA is to protect consumers, right, from spam or unwanted calls, right? In this case, we were able to get around some of the TCPA restrictions because we're not selling anything, right, as real estate investors. We're just wondering if they want to sell something to us. So that's the way we got around it. However, now regarding your question, what templates are we using? We've had to go to a two-stage template where, we're not using any negative keywords in the original, but it also now has to come in tandem with an opt-out. And the opt-out itself is, it's hard lined with Launch Control. Now, I could be wrong on this because I haven't logged into the system for a while in Smarter Contact, but check to see yourself, and I'll leave a link to Smarter Contact because we're really pushing Smarter Contact more now because we're starting to use it. We have the pause button hit on our Launch Control accounts. What does that mean? That is where we're still sending out drip automations, but we're not continuing to actively send new batches out in Launch Control for those reasons. Give me a sec. My whole house has a cold, so I'm saving you from the cough, or at least from hearing it, right? So what we've done is we've transitioned to Smarter Contact, and Smarter Contact gives us the ability to send. In the future, I know they're probably going to do this, customized opt-outs that are a little bit different than your standard, so it's a little bit more personal. For example, instead of the standard like reply stop to unsubscribe, it's like, hey, we're just reaching out. And by the way, some of these are negative keywords, so this example is not something I'd recommend you take. But for instance, hey, we're looking to make an offer on your property, 123 Main Street. If you don't want to hear from us and you're not really looking to sell now or in the immediate future, like click right here and I won't bother you. So that's the opt-out, right? That's customized. That's one feature that I know they wanted to do, but again, carrier restrictions might have inhibited them from doing that. Me logging in the platform is not something I do on a regular basis today, but it's something I will be doing, so I'll keep you posted. The other reason why I like Smarter Contact now over Launch Control is because of the fact that you are able to send follow-up messages right away. So there's no 30-day delay. So you can send follow-up messages inside of 30 days. This really helps, and it's very beneficial for targeting pre-foreclosures or foreclosures, somebody with an immediate need to sell, right? Vacant properties and stuff like that. Let me just double check my audio to make sure that you guys can hear me. Yep, you can hear me. All right. So When it comes to the exact types of templates, based off of your question that you asked, that is, what templates are you using now or are able to share, just signed up with LC. Albert, we're going to be updating that template that we are giving away for free with the ones that we're currently using. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, he's talking about this video, and when you do go to the video live on YouTube, you'll notice, me giving a little salute, whatever. And then below here, you can get the launch control marketing. Here's you sign up, you just put your name and email in here, and then you get in an email just these templates, and they're called Kickstart templates, is what we call them. And I'll just show you exactly what they look like. Yet you're gonna have to make a copy. It looks just like this. So it says Real Estate Investing Made Easy Kickstart templates. It gives you a step-by-step. These are the ones that are a little bit outdated. There's negative keywords that they've added that are still not in here. There's alternatives to those negative keywords that you might be able to use still. And then there's the 2-stage templates that I discussed with you earlier, saying that you need 2 stages of templates because negative keywords are increasing with carrier restrictions. And not only that, but this message will always be in tandem with, launch control. It's also going to be like, to opt out, click here or whatever, right? So that's going to come along with it. And if that's too small, let me just make it bigger. So that will be included. No need to include it. But that's why what I was saying with the actual platform Smarter Contact, it may be, provided that it's not a restriction of the carriers anymore, that you're able to customize that. So I'll keep you posted on whether or not that is the case. And frankly, as it pertains to Smarter Contact, I would highly recommend at least check them out. We've wanted to use Launch Control and continue to use Launch Control, but for several reasons, we've decided that we're going to transition to Smarter Contact, notwithstanding everything we've already covered. But one of the biggest reasons is we actually really like Adam and Josh and the guys who are running and owning and starting and the ones who founded Smarter Contact. So we're now in a Slack chat with them and their dev team. So if there's anything that, you guys have questions about that Smarter Contact needs to address, we're not your support, right? We're not the really quick support, but we are the people that if you guys continue to see issues, or if there's a feature request, we'll bring it to their attention and say like, look, man, there have been 50 people in the last, week that have asked for this. And we're also noticing this ourselves. Like, can you give us an update on the timeline, whether or not that's the top of the development stack, like whether they're going to be doing that or not. And we'll have a little bit of a voice for you guys. I may be underplaying it, but I certainly don't want to overplay my hand and say, every change you request will be granted. No, it's just that I like the guys there. They like us, and we appreciate their flexibility, and we appreciate them like just having an open ear to listen to us. So we're going to be rolling out one-on-one with me and Josh, which is one of the founders of Smarter Contact. And we'll be posting that here. That is not scheduled on the calendar. It's to be determined, but we'll be getting to that soon. So in regards to the actual templates, I'm going to update that Kickstarter template guide that I just shared with you. So you're going to be able to still get that updated, and it's going to be the same link. So there's nothing you need to do differently other than just go there, get that link, except it's not going to be promoting Launch Control anymore. It's going to be promoting Smarter Contact because that's the platform that we're transitioning to use. And just so you guys know, we've been using Launch Control for 5 years. Okay, probably a little bit more than that. And we've been seeing the changes that were made, and we're not happy with it. Right. And it's not just the carrier restrictions. It's just the platform and the pulling the rug out from underneath us situation. And, I'm not saying you can't get deals because we're still locking up deals with Launch Control. So if you're using it, that's totally fine. But we want a little bit more customization and hand-holding with a platform that's going to give us the ability to at least have some sort of a voice. And if we can represent your voice, then we're going to do it. So that's one of the reasons why we would recommend that. So really good question. I appreciate you bringing that up. It's not easy to make this transition for us because, it's just what we're used to. for 5 years using launch control, and it's not something we wanted to do, but it's actually a better move for us now, given the fact that we've built a pretty good relationship with those who are calling the shots within Smarter Contact. So, not the end all be all for us as some sort of authority, but at least it gives you guys a little leg up to voice what your concerns are that we'll bring directly to them and have that conversation with them. So appreciate the question, Albert. And then we have another question here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so speaking along the same lines, Joseph says launch control is dead. Opt-out rate is ridiculously high. And this is the video I was talking about. If you can't see this, I'll make it a little bit bigger. The thumbnail is this the death of launch control? So I went through that before, as SMS marketing is one piece, by the way, and that's something so important for you guys to understand. It is only one piece of your marketing. It shouldn't be everything, because inevitably you don't have any control over the platforms that you're using unless you built it, and you actually do. And frankly, neither do we, right? But if you're only using that one thing, then when there's changes that are going to significantly affect, right? We talked about the opt-out rate here with Joseph's question. Then you're just held to whatever happens, and you're just left open for that. So that's something that I would absolutely say, don't be held hostage by a platform, diversify and your marketing efforts. And I have some recommendations, and if you guys want to hear them, we'll talk about that as far as other things to do to make sure that you have consistent lead flow. Because if you don't have lead flow and you're not marketing effectively, then you're not going to be in business for long. And that's not what we want. We want to make sure that you're staying in business, you're getting an active source of motivated seller leads. So all that said, I will tell you I'm replying to your comment right now, and I appreciate your comment, Joseph. You're not alone in feeling that way. So replying to this live. So there we go. All right, next question. and the next question can be yours if you guys want to ask it live. Let me just monitor the chat right here and make sure that I'm not getting any questions right now, but I'm skipping over because I'll prioritize you guys who are showing up live. So stand by. All right, so looking at the chat, I don't see any questions yet, so we're good. Hi, the chat. Okay. So the next one that we've had over the last week, 2 weeks is, something that we were just kind of addressing, and it was to a privy video, which is part of the other thing that I wanted to share as far as diversifying your marketing. But the privy video, Rick put a comment on here and he asked, how are you dealing with the changes with launch control messaging requirements? So addressing this question live, it's kind of what we said before. So Rick, if you're tuning in right now, as a result of that link, go back a little bit, and we kind of talked about that with some of the other comments that we had recently, and this is a hot topic right now. But I'll just say this, and it's different than what I've covered so far. Dealing with the changes of the messaging requirements is definitely in alignment with what I was just recommending, and that is diversify your marketing. And the other way to diversify your marketing is partly one of the reasons why I put out that privy video, the warning privy real estate investing truth. And the truth is you have to diversify. So that video, we had a webinar that Chris hosted, my business partner, Chris Deal, and I was on it. And we just went through our on-market offer system. So we approach marketing from this angle. There's 3 pseudo avatars of, potential motivated sellers that we try to address, we try to market to, and we use 3 different platforms to do this. But in general, it's this. Off market, and that's when we pull different types of niche lists for Smarter Contact to start text message marketing and cold calling, and PPC and all that. But then the other hand is on market, and that's what we use Privy for, because yes, you can use your MLS. There's always been an on-market offer system that's been in existence, but it's changed. Now we're using Privy exclusively instead of the MLS in any market that we're in. We're in a lot of markets across the country. And the benefit there is they have, the copy and pasted MLS access because they have relationships with local MLSs all over the country. So that's something that I would absolutely recommend that you do to deal with the changes with launch control messaging requirements, because it's not just launch control, it's an SMS platform, like platform wide. These are TCPA compliance issues. The 10DLC A2P stuff. So, Rich, it's not just launch control, but I would recommend going to Smarter Contact instead. And then they just have less restrictions and they have more customization. And there is a lot more that you can do inside of Smarter Contact. It's also a relatively decent CRM. So if you're actually looking for a CRM, I would recommend that too. So Tori is live. Appreciate you joining. He said, from a long-term perspective, what are the advantages and disadvantages to owning single-family unit, multifamily unit, and commercial units? So that's a really good question, Tori, and we spoke yesterday. So I'm glad to see you're on. Let's break it down this way. Perspective for the advantages and disadvantages of owning single family units, multifamily units, and commercial. Let's just put it this way. I want to rephrase your question. The long-term perspective is commercial real estate is going to outperform anything if you own it and you bought it right. And then you need to look at obviously your exit. You always want to create a pro forma where you're projecting, or maybe your exit is 5 years. Are you going to refi? Are you going to sell it? Are you going to take it from a certain cap rate to a higher performing cap rate? But all of that stuff aside, if you're just getting started, understand that you got to learn to walk before you run, and before you walk, you got to crawl. And a lot of the concepts, and this is what I hear from people who said, I just wish I had gotten to multifamily sooner. A lot of the concepts in single family are very similar, but there's a lot of dissimilarities as well. The process takes longer to get more at bats with multifamily units. And my recommendation would be, if you decide that you're going to go to multifamily and try and buy multifamily, this is like, residential multifamily, whether it's apartment complexes, whether it's like anywhere from 5-6 units to 100 units, you want to pull lists to target individuals who are more mom and pop owned. Okay. Because you're going to have a better chance of being able to negotiate it. And just understand, you're going to need to have GPs possibly, and you're going to have to come to the table with larger investments. One way in which to do that is to crawl before you walk. Understand the real estate game from a single family perspective first. That's just a recommendation. I know people who have been successful in multifamily and they went straight for multifamily. But I'll tell you, it took them a whole heck of a lot longer to become successful in multifamily. A couple resources. I think I have one that I'm going to share with you. I'll share it with you towards the end. It's a book, and I don't have it on my desk right now. But it is, I might have it right here. Let me see. It's basically the Bible for syndications, commercial syndications, for being an operator for, the perspective of commercial and multifamily stuff. But all the concepts that you're going to be gaining more confidence around in single family are going to benefit you more in multi. So I would say start where it's easiest, where it's quickest. There's those gurus out there who say, you don't need any pre-existing knowledge, education, or whatever, write the $50,000 check and then learn how to wholesale within 30 days. Obviously, you don't need that. You just need to subscribe to this channel and, continue to engage and ask questions. You will get a result faster with single family, okay? Because there are a whole lot more mom and pop owners of single family than there are mom and pop of multifamily, and the sales cycle is shorter. Somebody who I talked to recently, their goal was to go from 10 deals a year to 30 deals a year in the multifamily space. And that is definitely doable, but again, it's going to require a bigger team. And if you're a solopreneur and you haven't built your network yet, and Tori, I think that maybe you haven't, then you want to connect with investors first so that you can start having those conversations. And one really critical piece is multifamily requires more capital. Where are you going to get the capital? So I talked about this with either you or somebody else yesterday, and I wanted to share it here because if you're looking for private money, this is a huge source of private money. Okay, tell me in the comments section when the last time you knew somebody in the real estate investing space who absolutely needed, let's say, $600,000 in their bank account immediately within the next 30 days, and that's why they needed $600,000 for their property. What do they need $600,000 for? Tim says, not me. Okay, so yeah, okay. So that's the thing. That money is just going to be sitting in a bank account. So every seller that you're having a conversation with, whether it is somebody that you are actually going to end up buying their house, ask them what they're going to do with the money or what their plans are. You know, and in so many ways you can phrase this to where it's not necessarily going to come off as intrusive or none of ya, right? None of your business. But there are very few circumstances in which somebody, even if they're getting another home, whether they're downsizing or upscaling, that they're going to need, you know, in most markets, the full amount in their bank account ready to redeploy. And if it's an investment, then we can talk about the 1031 exchange. So what that money is going to do is lose value in a bank account and to inflation and to the slap in the face returns, even if you put it in a CD. So pitch private money. Say, hey, you know, as much as we make cash offers, that money is coming from people like yourself who come into a large sum of money. Possibly they sell their house or they're just friends and family that work with us to get a better return on their money and get their money working for them instead of them trading time for dollars. So is that something that appeals to you, right? Because you just told me, Mr. Seller, that what you really need is 5% down for this new house that costs $400,000. And you also want to pay off your car and your car loan is $12,000. So do they need $400,000, or let's say their house that they're actually selling is $600,000 to stay consistent with the example? Do they really need, say they own it free and clear, $600,000? No, they don't. And frankly, if they got $600,000 in their bank account, again, we go back to it's losing value. So protect that money that you worked hard for and also worked hard to maintain that asset so it's a performing asset and not a liability for you. That is your home that you're now selling, and put it into something that's going to make money for your money, right? So starting with single family is something I recommend, even if it's just for that reason alone. And picking your market, heck, if you're just getting started, pick a market with a higher price point so that you can have more access to capital. That when you have some seller that's selling their property, it's not a $50,000 house or a $100,000 house that then you're going to, you know, pitch private money. And then sure, maybe even if they're interested, like maybe they net 30K and they have 30K and it's just going to sit in the bank. But guess what that means? You only have 30K as a private lender. Why not? It's the same conversation. It's the same amount of work, energy, and effort. It's the same system. It's the same process with somebody who owns a property that's going to sell for $1 million that is going to have $900,000 in cash. I'm just making up these numbers as an example. That's going to sit in the bank that they'll have liquid ready to deploy versus somebody who has a $50,000 house and they end up with 30K. So just begin with the end in mind. If you want to get into multifamily, obviously you want to build those relationships with lenders because that's one of the most important things. You do fundraising. You have to raise capital. You put on webinars to raise capital with multifamily investments, right? That's a lot more work, and certainly you should be dedicating some time to start learning that process as well. But starting off with single family is absolutely what I would recommend. Okay, so that's what I would take home, and then you can get into commercial and all that. I think one of the best performing asset classes for commercials are storage units, storage facilities in relatively small MSAs that are growing consistently. So make sure you do your market research when the time comes to understand, like, is that city where you're planning on investing growing? Or, so are there going to be people who are moving there that need storage units, whether they're renting or not, and just understand the market in and of itself. So market research in that capacity is absolutely huge. So I appreciate the question, Tori. If there are any other questions you have, please ask them and I'll be sure to address them. I'm going to, in the meantime, move on to other questions that were asked this week. Umar Malik, thanks so much for asking this question. I think it's a question. Smarter Contact has the text to voice already or testing? And for voice, is it pre-recorded? Really good question. So I'm going to let you know that I'm answering your question live, and you're not going to like this answer because the answer is I don't really know whether or not they are actively doing it, because as I mentioned earlier, I didn't log into the system yet. Once I do, well, I mean, I have before. Let me just phrase that. I'm not actively logging in and doing the work, right? We have a team. So I will make sure we do that. But I can tell you this, it's pre-recorded. So you record a voicemail drop as though it were a voicemail drop, but it's not. It's a text to voice, a voice to text, right? That shows up as a little clickable in their text thread. It's still going to have to come with an opt-out message, by the way. That's just the TCPA requirements. But when you do, it's just whatever you record. So it can say like, hey, I was just following up. I wanted to make an offer on your property. So if you're interested in selling, let me know. You know, it doesn't have to be that. I wouldn't say that that's the end all be all script that you should use, but we could talk about that if you want, what I'd recommend for the script to be. But I know that it's coming if it hasn't already. So Tori said, understood, thank you. Yep, you're absolutely welcome, man. Appreciate the question. So again, if you have any others, just drop them in there live as well. And then the next question here we have is, can you do videos finding a wholesale friendly title company? I love that question. I'm just going to answer that right now. For those of you who have a response to that, drop it in the comment section. But I'm gonna expound on that real quick because it's a very easy question to answer. So for those of you who are like Rashik, who are looking for a wholesale friendly title company, the best way to do it is to network with other real estate investors in whatever market you're investing in and say, who do you use? You know what I mean? Who do you use? I'm not saying that they will or won't, but they could even have, you know, some sort of referral situation that benefits them for referring you. Certainly we have in the past in San Diego, one of the title companies that we have worked with for a long time, or escrow companies, I should say, they hooked it up with like $100 off for, you know, whatever the closing is for the person who used it, and then $100 off for one of our closings when we referred them. So that can be a situation, or they could just really appreciate the title company that they work with. So we use different title companies, escrow companies across the United States. And obviously you guys know that if you're virtual, it's all interchangeable. It's like, okay, what's the difference between a title company and an escrow company? Well, in California, like an escrow handles escrow, title handles title. And then in you know, some East Coast places, it's like, oh, no, it's attorneys. Attorneys do it all. Or title companies do escrow and this and that. But as far as who to use for your transactions that are friendly for investors, that understand the wholesale process, you got to ask all of the investors in your network. Just call them up. And if you don't know how to research buyers, that video that you commented on, Rashik, is a good video to watch for all those people who are looking for how to find buyers, because you can use Privy to find buyers as well. So Rashik, I appreciate the question. I'm just going to let you know that answering this question live, and there's the replay for you if you're not already tuned in right now. All right, got another question here, I think. When analyzing and evaluating homes for ARV, are there any repairs that generally should be avoided because it eats way too much at ROI and tends to be more a headache than it's worth? Yes and no. When you're analyzing homes, so understand this: your ARV. So if you're looking at a property, you're trying to determine the ARV. The ARV obviously is going to be influenced by the comps, right? As far as repairs, just to bring it up, like if there's a hole in the roof and if there's a crack in the foundation, like you just have to budget for it. So it also depends on if you're wholesaling. So if you're going to wholesale a property, like who are your buyers and what is your the risk tolerance of your buyers? Because if your buyers don't want anything that has a cracked slab, and your buyers don't want anything that has like massive roof repairs or something like that, which actually they're not that hard to overcome, then it doesn't really matter, right? But if you're going to take it on yourself, you have to ask what your own risk tolerance is. So just to, clarify, as you say, with your question, Tori, when analyzing and evaluating properties to determine the ARV, are there any repairs that should generally be avoided because it eats too much at your ROI? The answer is no, not really, unless your buyers just say, I don't want you to give me any properties, as wholesale deals that have this issue or that issue. Maybe they don't like fire damage properties, but I know plenty of people who eat that up. They're like, you mean a scrape and build? Bring it. I'll scrape and build all day. And obviously that's going to be, dependent upon their costs, who their contractors are. The hard costs of lumber, materials, and stuff like that, it's pretty much even keel across the United States. But from city to city, like, you're going to have different costs to actually hire people. I know where I live, it's triple what it was in San Diego, because I moved from San Diego to a smaller town. And these contractors out here, they're ridiculous. So the office I'm in right now, I was going to actually have somebody build it and contract somebody, but I built it myself just because I have the ability and wherewithal. So I put this office together, and it was cool because I, really did it up. I have radiant heated floors and this and that. It's completely soundproof, but it costs way too much to do. So I'm not flipping out here where I live. Not at all. Why would I do that? It's crazy. But we are in San Diego and other places across the United States, because we have buyers that have competitive rates with their contractors, and it doesn't really matter. So the key takeaway for this is you have to know what your buyers want if you're going to be wholesaling. So if it scares them away that there's a cracked slab, then clearly it is going to be a headache for you. It's not going to be worth it. But if you do understand more creative angles, then it might be worth it, and you need to increase and expand your list of buyers. If you're having trouble dispositioning anything that you have under contract, let us know, because we do help out. We love joint venturing with you guys to help bring deals across the finish line that are actually deals, right? Because if it's a nothing burger because of analysis, and there's a challenge in analysis, then there's nothing we can do about it. If it's not a deal, it's not a deal. But if it is a deal and you're having trouble dispoing it because maybe you don't have those buyers who want to take on projects that your current buyers don't want to take on, crack slab, whatever the problem is, then let us know, because you can use the link in the description that I'll put in there later for the dispo, so you can submit that for us to help you with. Same thing with closing, guys. So we also do closing support. Priority closing support, priority dispo support is with our mastermind students only. If you want to know more about that, leave a link in the chat. Actually, just ask in the chat and we'll send you some info about that. But the other question here that I have is, the recent template changes with launch control have me searching for alternatives. On one hand, they're the best for TCPA compliance, but the new templates are way too vague and look so much more like spam. Dude, just talking about this, Watson, Parker, absolutely. Looks like Smarter Contact is definitely going to be the way to go. And if you guys test that out, let me know. Give me your feedback, because we're using it, and obviously we have more flexibility for all the reasons you can rewind this live to talk about. So all that said, I appreciate that. And then I can't seem to get this link to work. Okay. So we have some AI cold calling stuff. The link should work now, just so you know. And hopefully that's going to get you all the scripts that we're using. All that said, everybody, guys, this is, we try to keep it tight at 45 minutes. So if you have any questions that you weren't able to get in, drop them in the comment section. I will address them. I'll address them live. And if you want to join us, you can join us next Friday when we go live. We're also going to be opening up some additional time slots to go live and answer your questions directly. But let me know if you guys can't show up during this time because you saw the replay and you're like, dude, I miss it at 10 p.m. Pacific time every single Friday, but I want to see you guys live and I want to engage and ask questions live. They're basically coaching calls for free from real estate investing experts, so we can together make real estate investing easy. Tell me in the comment section below what time you guys would prefer. And if I get enough feedback, I'll open up another time where we go live and we answer your questions. Other than that, you guys have a fantastic weekend. It is Friday. I know for us, real estate never sleeps, so we're going to continue to be doing work and helping make real estate investing easy. I love you guys. You guys are the reason we do this. Appreciate all of your engagement. Like and subscribe. Share this stuff to help other people make real estate investing easy. We'll see you on the next one, everybody.